In the dark Victorian underworld of London's East End, one man rose to take the boxing world and the very fabric of Victorian London by storm. His name was Hezekiah Moscow, a Jamaican immigrant whose journey to the East End was driven by dreams far removed from the blood and grime of the boxing ring. Moscow arrived in London with an unlikely ambition: to become a lion tamer. In the dazzling, dangerous world of Victorian music halls and travelling shows, exotic animal trainers were treated as stars, commanding both fear and admiration. For a man from the West Indies, a career among London's entertainers promised a path to fame and financial stability, a far cry from the backbreaking labour offered to most immigrants. But reality rarely aligned with such dreams. When his plans fell apart, Moscow found himself in one of the few arenas where a man of his background could carve out a name for himself: the boxing ring. He quickly adapted to this new life, fighting under the name Ching Hook, a nickname that hinted at his speculated mixed heritage. Some contemporary newspapers even described him as a black Chinaman. Though the truth of his lineage remains uncertain, it was not uncommon for Caribbean immigrants to have diverse ancestry, and the East End's immigrant communities often blurred cultural lines. Moscow's rise in the ring was meteoric. By 1882, he was a household name, at least in East London, celebrated not only for his prowess as a lightweight boxer, but also for his larger-than-life personality. He wasn't content to be just a fighter. Like many who navigated the rough streets of London, he diversified his income wherever he could. By night, he fought in the ring. By day, he performed in music halls, singing for rowdy crowds. He even briefly returned to his original dream, working as a bear tamer at the East London Aquarium, a macabre Victorian attraction where wild animals were paraded for public amusement. However, his career in animal handling ended abruptly and controversially when the newly formed RSPCA charged him in 1884 with cruelly ill-treating 4 bears. The scandal tarnished his reputation, but did little to end his fame in the boxing community. For the East End crowds, Moscow wasn't just a boxer. He was a symbol of resilience, a man who had endured poverty, racism, and public disgrace without losing his fighting spirit. Moscow's matches became events in their own right. Fans admired his agility and determination, particularly when he faced opponents larger and more experienced than himself. The East End's boxing culture valued grit over pedigree, and Moscow embodied that ideal perfectly. He was known for his lightning-fast footwork and his ability to take a punch and keep coming back for more. His style wasn't refined or pretty, but it was effective. He fought like a man who had something to prove, not just to his opponents, but to a society that saw him as an outsider. His story, however, took a darker turn in the 1890s. After a decade-long career as both a boxer and a trainer, Moscow seemed poised to transition into a new phase of life. He had a wife and daughter, and many believed he would settle into a quieter existence. But instead, he vanished, leaving his family behind without a word. Some whispered that he had grown tired of London's relentless grind. Others speculated that a series of losses in the ring and his dwindling public appeal had driven him to despair. Years later, a fellow boxer claimed to have seen Moscow working on the docks in New York, a broken man, penniless and alone. The sighting was never confirmed, and his name disappeared from newspapers and records. It's possible he died anonymously, far from the city that once cheered his name. Hezekiah Moscow's life, like so many who fought their way through the East End, was a testament to both the promise and peril of Victorian London. He arrived in search of a dream and found something entirely different, a fleeting, brutal kind of glory. Though his ultimate fate remains a mystery, his legacy endures as a reminder of the resilience of those who refuse to let society define their worth.